Welcome to the quest for the hidden gems. In this series, we take a look at games that got left behind or flew under the radar. These are games that we believe are gems hidden amongst the rubble. The rubble in which we are referring to in this aspect are the games in the game libraries that just come out every year, and we want to find and explore these gems and bring them to your attention.
Today we are talking about the game Vigmund, The Return of the Hidden Knight, published and developed by Scholastics. This was released on the PC back on March 28th of 2022 with many updates. Vigmund is an Anglo-Saxon and Celtic-inspired medieval isometric action RPG with a vibrant open world to explore. So let's go over some key points on why we believe that Vigmund is a hidden gem. For us, the first reason will be the first thing you actually see while playing the game. It's just the general art style, graphics, and the overall feel of this small open world game that you have. Along with the isometric camera view that you see, making every little area that you discover along the way feel like its own little area of interest in its own lovely little area, along with the dynamic lighting of the game and the natural day and night cycle. Just give this open world such a special charm that we see here.
While playing through the tutorial, I found it refreshing that developers immediately immersed you in the game without directly holding your hand. As you explore your farm collecting goods to go out and figure out what's happening to your crops, you discover that the boars have been stealing your crops, so you set off to collect your first real weapon. Once you have the weapon, it's time for that sweet revenge on that lead boar. After dealing with the menace, you go back to the farm to find your sheep slaughtered and a blood trail to follow, leading you to your first dungeon, the Wolf's Den. In true RPG fashion, getting your first levels and kills on boars and wolves just felt right to me. While exploring this dungeon, you get a good feel on just how big they can be and how much there's to do in them. This set the tone for me, how everything just nicely flowed together. Complete one quest, get directed to another. While exploring, you gradually just come across side quests, whether it be talking to an NPC or coming across an item. Having this format just let me pace myself, enjoying going out exploring, discovering, or coming across items. And these items can be various different things, whether it's collect runes or seek the Holy Grail. And yes, folks, that mob slaying. While the combat can feel a little clunky, it's rewarding. By not being just click and never die, you can get overwhelmed, and it gives you that rush of this boar might actually eat my face.
So, like Corey said, it's like you're eventually going to run through quests and side quests that eventually lead you into just naturally finding more equipment and gear and everything like that. But one thing that I loved about this game is that each item that you come by or acquire will somehow impact the game later on. Might be an important quest item in the future, might be important now, the story mission. Everything in the game is quite important at the time. You find a new armor piece in the next dungeon, it's usually always going to be better than what you have at the time. And eventually you'll start collecting all the armor pieces and getting tier bonuses from these sets. And then the next dungeon you go to will have another armor set and so on and so on. And then collecting through the dungeons in the open world, you'll find resources, and these resources will also be valuable as you will use these towards professions, where we will have crafting, survival, and medicine, in which you'll just have all various items. Throughout the game, you'll collect the items, use these resources, and advance these professions. And of course, you can ignore these professions and not have any of it really hurt your gameplay overall. So while we're talking about the general gameplay of this game, I want to highlight some of the games that I believe are very similar to Vigmund. If you enjoy these games, I think that this Vigmund is something that you would enjoy as well. To me, it's like it reminds me of a lot of the older games like Icewind Dale, Neverwinter Nights, and the modern titles I think of are like Pillars of Eternity, Pathfinder series that have been coming out recently. Divinity and Divinity Original Sin 2 are games that I very much enjoyed, and believe that Vigmund really fits in with a lot of these games. Now, it is on an indie, smaller scale compared to most of these games, but if you like that isometric camera view and that source of RPG-ness, it's like Vigmund is very closely related to all of these games. Alright, so since we've gone over like a few of the talking points of this game and we know some of the comparisons of what this game is, I kind of want to highlight as to personally why I think this is a hidden gem to myself and my personal experience. While I was playing this game, I generally sometimes find myself when I come into an open world game, I find that it's kind of hard to really get into the exploration as it's can be a little too daunting as to like the map's really big. If I'm playing Skyrim, it's like I don't want to sit there and search forever because I don't quite have that time on hand. But in Vigmund, I lost myself for a couple hours of just the pure enjoyment of gathering things in the open world and just got lost going out. I didn't even worry about the quests, side quests, or anything like that. I just generally enjoyed going out and collecting items, finding pieces of armor that were scattered around everywhere, finding just mysterious little caves off to the bit and trying to see what they connected to, and eventually coming across a side mission or two and going, oh, there's this item, and finding out that each item I came across was important. It wasn't just junk that was filling up my character inventory or anything like that. Big reason why I think the exploration was so much fun was that everything else was very simple. With the characters leveling up and getting talent points and skills, it all remained very simple. There wasn't too much to worry about, and it all got you right back into the game, out and exploring. Along with all the quality of life that the developer has been adding over time, and we see this with each patch that's been coming out. This game has been almost out for a year now, in a couple months, and the developer is still releasing very large patches, adding things to the game, and I experienced that just throughout the gameplay of all the things he's added, which has brought this game to what I believe is quite honestly a very respectable game, and what I think of as a hidden gem, personally.
I couldn't agree with you more, Alex. The exploration of this game is just fantastic. But for me, it was the dungeons. I love playing dungeons. Whether it's this game or another game, I enjoy going out, getting into a dungeon, fighting the mini-bosses, killing the enemies, collecting the loot. I am a sucker for a good loot game. I love collecting item sets. I love just kind of mix and matching, figuring out what you can do, try to break the combat system, just become the most OP guy you can become. And I find that so much fun. Now for me, I didn't get as much playtime as Alex did. I only got about 6 hours in. I'm only in the second dungeon, but man, I just find myself wanting to play, get in there, and figure out what I can and can't do in this game. For us, Vigmund is a hidden gem, and we think it is for people that enjoy these type of RPG games. Now, we want to know if you guys feel the same way. Let us know if you played the game, if you think it's a hidden gem, what you liked about it, and what you didn't like about it. Thank you all for watching, and until the next gem comes across, we're going to keep on mining. And you all keep on gaming.